Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with this truth. The most powerful weapon you will ever carry is not in your hand, it's in your mind. Your emotions can either build you or break you. They can guide you to success or drag you into destruction. The question is, who's in charge? You or your emotions? See, life will test you, people will test you, circumstances will push you to your limits. But here's the reality. You cannot control what happens around you. Yet you can always control how you respond within you. That's where true strength lives. Not in muscle, not in money, not in titles, but in mastery over yourself. Think about it. Anger can destroy relationships. Impatience can kill opportunities. Fear can paralyze potential. But discipline over your emotions, can open doors you never imagined. Calm in the storm, courage in the chaos, wisdom when others panic. That is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Your emotions are the greatest weapon you will ever carry. Not a gun, not a sword, not even your words, your emotions. Think about it for a moment. Every action you take, every decision you make, every step forward or backward in your life is fueled by some kind of emotional force. Joy, anger, fear, excitement, doubt, courage, all of them carry energy. The question is not whether emotions are powerful, but whether that power is working for you or against you. If you don't understand how to control them, they will control you. And when emotions control you, they can lead you into battles you don't need to fight, arguments you don't need to have, and mistakes you don't need to make. But when you master them, when you take hold of them and guide them, emotions become the engine that drives you toward your destiny. Look back at your life, and you'll realize some of your greatest regrets didn't come from a lack of talent or opportunity, but from a lack of control. Maybe you said something in anger that you couldn't take back. Maybe fear made you walk away from a chance that could have changed your life. Maybe impatience caused you to quit too early. These are not failures of ability. They are failures of emotion. And the truth is, we all face this battle. Every single one of us wakes up each morning with a choice. Will I master my emotions today, or will they master me? Imagine walking into a storm. The wind is howling, the rain is slapping against your face, and visibility is almost gone. That's what life feels like when your emotions are unchecked. Chaos everywhere. You can't see clearly, you can't think clearly, and every step you take feels unsteady. But when you learn to control your emotions, it's like walking through that storm with an umbrella, with boots on your feet, with a light guiding your path. The storm is still there, but you are steady. The circumstances don't change, but you do. And because you do, you move forward when others stand still. Powerful emotions like anger, jealousy, or pride are not evil by themselves. In fact, they can serve you if you put them in the right place. Anger at injustice can push you to fight for what's right. Fear can make you cautious in dangerous situations. Even sadness can teach you empathy and compassion. The problem begins when those emotions are allowed to drive, when they take the wheel of your life. Picture your emotions like passengers in a car. Each one has something to say. Each one has value. But if you let the wrong one drive, you're heading for a crash. Control means you decide who gets to speak, but you never hand over the key. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who show their power in outbursts or aggression, but the ones who remain calm under pressure. Anyone can yell, anyone can explode, anyone can panic, but it takes strength to breathe, to pause, to think, and then to act with clarity. That strength doesn't just earn you respect, it earns you results, because leaders, visionaries, and achievers know that their greatest battles are not fought with fists or words, but with the discipline to master themselves first. When you begin to see your emotions as a weapon, you also begin to understand the responsibility of carrying that weapon. A sword in the hands of someone untrained can harm themselves and others, but in the hands of a master it can protect, defend, and conquer. The same is true of your emotion. If you carry anger without training, it will cut down relationships and opportunities. If you carry fear without training, it will slice away at your confidence. But if you train your mind, if you sharpen your awareness, then anger becomes fuel for justice, fear becomes fuel for preparation, and passion becomes fuel for perseverance. You can't control life, but you can always control your response. That is one of the greatest truths you will ever learn. Life will throw storms your way, storms you never asked for, storms you never saw coming. People will betray you, situations will disappoint you, circumstances will knock you off your feet. You will lose money, lose relationships, lose opportunities, and there will be times when it feels like the ground beneath you has disappeared. But even in those moments, when everything outside of you seems uncertain, one thing always remains in your control: how you choose to respond. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same situation, yet one will rise and the other will crumble. One will turn pain into power, while the other turns pain into paralysis. The difference is not in the circumstance, because the storm was the same. The difference is in the response. The one who takes control of their response has taken control of their destiny, because your response is the seed of every outcome that follows. You can't control if someone insults you, but you can control whether you respond with wisdom or with rage. You can't control the economy, but you can control whether you adapt or whether you fold. You can't control whether life hits you, but you can control whether you stay down or whether you rise again. Every day is full of triggers designed to test you. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone questions your worth. A coworker spreads rumors. A family member disappoints you. These are not events that decide your future. They are tests that reveal your discipline. And the truth is, life is not testing the situation. It is testing you. Will you rise above it, or will you fall into it? Will you allow it to change your mood, your energy, your focus, or will you stand strong, unshaken, unmoved? That is where greatness is born, not in the absence of problems, but in the presence of problems and the ability to respond with control. Imagine fire. Fire can destroy a house, burn down a forest, and leave nothing but ashes behind. But fire can also warm your home, cook your food, and light your path. The fire itself does not decide, it is neutral. What matters is how you handle it. Life is the same way. Events come at you like fire. If you respond recklessly, the fire consumes you. If you respond wisely, the fire serves you. The choice is always in your hands, even if the event itself is not. History is full of people who suffered losses, tragedies, and injustices, but who chose to respond in ways that turned pain into greatness. They did not control what happened to them, but they controlled what they did next. And what they did next changed the world. That same power lives inside you. The ability to stop, breathe, think, and then act with purpose instead of impulse. The ability to choose discipline over reaction. The ability to keep moving forward even when everything in you wants to stop. That is the power of response. When you realize this, you no longer live as a victim of circumstance. You no longer wait for life to be easy before you can be strong. You no longer hand your peace of mind over to other people's actions. Instead, you build a foundation inside yourself that cannot be shaken. And from that foundation, no matter what storm comes, you remain standing. Because storms don't define you. Circumstances don't define you. The response you choose in the face of them, that is what defines you. Uncontrolled emotions destroy opportunities. This is one of the hardest lessons to accept because it means facing the truth that most of the doors that closed in your life didn't close because you weren't capable, but because you let your emotions get in the way. Think about it. How many times have you been in the right place, at the right moment, with the right people, and you blew it because anger spoke louder than patience? How many times have you had the talent and the skill but fear made you hesitate until the opportunity passed you by? How many times have you allowed frustration to make you quit too soon, when you were closer to the breakthrough than you realized? Opportunities don't die on their own. Most of the time they are killed by uncontrolled emotions. Anger is one of the biggest thieves of opportunity. Anger convinces you to react without thinking, to burn bridges in seconds that took years to build. A single angry outburst can erase respect, damage relationships, and close doors you never get the chance to walk through again. Opportunities are often tied to people, and people do not forget how you made them feel. You might be skilled, you might be intelligent, you might be qualified, but if people cannot trust you to manage your emotions, they will hesitate to open doors for you. It only takes one moment of rage to undo a lifetime of work. Fear is another silent killer of opportunity. Fear convinces you that you're not ready, that you're not enough, that you should wait until the perfect moment, which never comes. Fear keeps you standing on the sidelines, while the chance of a lifetime walks right past you. You start doubting yourself, doubting your abilities, doubting your worth, and while you're trapped in that hesitation, the door closes. Fear doesn't just stop you from moving, it steals the very belief that you could have moved at all. And opportunities do not wait for hesitation. They belong to those who are willing to step forward in courage, even when they're afraid. Impatience is another emotion that destroys what could have been. So many people give up too quickly because they want the reward without the process. the finish line without the race. Impatience makes you quit on the fifth step, when success was waiting on the seventh. It makes you abandon the relationship that needed more time, the business that needed more effort, the dream that needed more faith. Opportunities rarely arrive fully formed. They require persistence, patience, and endurance. But when impatience controls you, you leave the field before the harvest, and you walk away empty-handed. Even pride can kill opportunities. Pride whispers that you don't need advice, that you don't need help, that you know enough already. Pride convinces you to ignore mentors, to dismiss feedback, to close your ears when wisdom is being offered. And in doing so, pride blinds you to doors that were meant for you. No matter how much talent you have, no matter how much potential, pride will make you sabotage yourself, because it tells you that control is weakness when in reality control is strength. Opportunities are precious. They don't show up every day, and when they do, they don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they're hidden in small moments, a conversation, a connection, a chance to prove yourself. And if your emotions are not under control, you will miss them. You will speak when you should have listened. You will quit when you should have persisted. You will run when you should have stood firm. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck often comes down to emotional control, because talent may get you noticed, but discipline keeps you in the room. Emotion might get you started, but control ensures you finish what you began. Discipline over emotions creates strength. This is one of the greatest truths about personal power, because real strength is not measured by how much weight you can lift or how loud you can shout, but by your ability to remain steady when the world around you is shaking. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can break down under pressure. Anyone can give in to fear, doubt, or frustration. But it takes discipline to rise above those feelings, to stay calm when everything inside of you wants to explode, and to make decisions from clarity instead of chaos. That is strength at its highest level, and it is the kind of strength that separates ordinary people from extraordinary achievers. When you live by discipline instead of impulse, you stop being a slave to your emotions. Anger does not get to dictate how you treat people. Fear does not get to decide whether you move forward. Doubt does not get to cancel your dreams. Discipline takes the wheel, and when discipline is driving, your emotions become passengers instead of masters. They may speak, they may whisper, they may scream, but they do not get to steer your life. That control is what builds strength, because every time you resist the pull of an emotion that wants to sabotage you, you build inner muscle that can't be seen but can always be felt. Strength is proven in moments of tension. When life puts you under pressure, the easy response is to give in to what feels natural. Yell back when someone disrespects you. Panic when the plan falls apart. Quit when the process gets too hard. But discipline whispers, hold on. Discipline tells you to pause before you speak, to breathe before you act, to think before you react. That pause is power. That pause is control. That pause is where strength is formed, because you have chosen not to let emotion make the decision for you. Instead, you choose to act with intention. And that is where greatness is born. Discipline over emotions also creates consistency, and consistency is where real success lives. Emotions are unstable. They rise and fall like waves. One day you feel motivated. The next day you feel tired. One moment you're confident. The next you're filled with doubt. If you let those emotions decide your actions, your life will always be inconsistent, and inconsistent effort never produces lasting results. But when discipline leads, you show up whether you feel like it or not. You keep going whether you're inspired or not. You stay committed whether it's easy or not. That kind of consistency is strength, because it means you are no longer controlled by moods. You are controlled by principles. Think of an athlete training for a championship. There are days their body aches, days they don't feel motivated, days they would rather sleep in than practice. If they were led by emotions, they would skip the work, and when the game came, they would fail. But because discipline rules, they push through the pain. They train even when they don't want to. And when the moment arrives, they are ready. That readiness is strength. That discipline over emotions is what makes the difference between champions and everyone else. In the same way, in life, the strongest people are not those who are never afraid, never angry, never doubtful. They are the ones who feel all of those emotions, but still choose discipline over reaction. They may feel fear, but they act with courage. They may feel anger, but they respond with patience. They may feel doubt, but they keep moving in faith. That is true strength. not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of, and the more discipline you apply over your emotions, the stronger you become. Because every controlled response is a victory that adds to your inner power. Your emotions don't define your destiny. Your choices do. Feelings are temporary, fleeting, and often unstable. One moment you can be filled with confidence, ready to take on the world, and the next you can feel doubt creeping in, convincing you to stay still. One moment you can be motivated, energized and on fire for your dreams, and the next you can feel tired, unmotivated, and ready to quit. That's the nature of emotions. They change with the weather, with circumstances, with the smallest triggers. But your destiny is not built on shifting sand. It is built on the foundation of the decisions you make, the actions you take, and the commitment you hold on to, regardless of how you feel in the moment. When you allow emotions to dictate your path, you live a life of inconsistency. You work hard only when you feel motivated. You pursue your goals only when you feel confident. You love others only when you feel appreciated. That kind of living creates instability, because your future becomes tied to feelings that were never meant to be in control. Emotions are signals. They tell you how you're feeling in the moment, but they are not commands. They don't decide where you go unless you let them. Choices are what shape the outcome of your life, and those choices must be rooted in values, discipline, and vision, not in temporary mood. Think about the times when emotions tried to rob you of your future. Fear told you not to try. Doubt told you not to risk it. Anger told you to walk away from something valuable. Sadness told you to stop moving. If you had listened to those emotions every time, you wouldn't be where you are today. You wouldn't have achieved the victories you've already achieved. You wouldn't have grown through the struggles you've grown through. The only reason you made it this far is because at some point you chose differently. You chose to keep going when fear told you to quit. You chose to speak life when anger told you to lash out. You chose to stand up when doubt told you to stay down. That choice, that decision, is what shaped your life, not the emotion you felt in the moment. Greatness is never born in emotion. It is born in decision. Every person who has accomplished something extraordinary faced moments of deep emotion. They felt fear before stepping into the unknown. They felt discouragement when things didn't go as planned. They felt doubt when the vision seemed impossible. But instead of surrendering to those emotions, they made choices that aligned with their purpose. They decided to keep building, keep striving, keep believing. They didn't wait for their feelings to catch up. They let their decisions lead the way. And over time, their choices rewired their emotions, turning fear into courage, doubt into confidence, and despair into hope. Your destiny is not waiting for you to feel ready. It is waiting for you to choose to move. Emotions may knock on the door every single day, trying to steer you off course, but they do not get the final say unless you hand them the power. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, faith over fear, perseverance over discouragement, you are writing the script of your future. And the more you choose with intention, the clearer your path becomes. The truth is, emotions will always exist. They are part of being human, but they are not the drivers of destiny. Choices are: the choice to wake up early, the choice to work when you don't feel like it, the choice to stay calm when you want to explode, the choice to forgive when you want to stay angry, the choice to keep walking when you want to sit down. Every single choice is a building block, and together they create the future you are moving toward, regardless of how you felt in the moment you made them. Master your emotions. Master your future. This is the key that unlocks everything. Because the direction of your life is not determined by what happens to you, but by how you manage what happens inside of you. The world is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Opportunities will shift. Circumstances will change without warning. But if you can master your emotions in the middle of uncertainty, if you can remain steady when the winds of life are blowing hard against you, then your future becomes something you can shape instead of something that just happens to you. Every great achievement, every major success, every breakthrough has one thing in common. The person behind it did not allow their emotions to dictate their outcome. They felt fear, but they moved forward anyway. They felt doubt, but they chose belief. They felt anger, but they chose patience. Mastery is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to control it, direct it, and use it as fuel instead of letting it use you. When you develop that mastery, you place your future in your own hand. No longer are you at the mercy of moods. No longer are you driven by impulse. No longer are you trapped in cycles of reaction. Instead, you live with intention, And intention creates destiny. Think of life as a battlefield. Every day emotions are fighting to take command of your decision. Fear is shouting at you to stay small. Anger is pushing you to act recklessly. Doubt is whispering that you are not enough. If you let them lead, you lose. But when you master them, when you silence the noise and command your emotions to obey your vision, because once you have control within, there is nothing outside that can truly defeat you. Mastery over self is mastery over circumstance. Your future is not destroyed by challenges. It is destroyed by uncontrolled responses to those challenges. People quit not because the dream was impossible, but because discouragement convinced them to stop. Relationships break, not because love wasn't present, but because pride or anger got in the way. Opportunities vanish not because they weren't reachable, but because fear made someone hesitate. All of these are emotional battles, and those who lose them, lose more than a moment. They lose a future. But those who master them, those who recognize emotions for what they are and take control, they protect their future and open the doors that others can't. Mastery of emotions also creates clarity. When you are led by emotions, your vision becomes clouded. Anger blinds you. Fear narrows your perspective. Excitement, if unchecked, can make you rush into poor decisions. But when you master your emotions, you can step back and see the bigger picture. You don't just react to the moment. You respond with wisdom. That wisdom allows you to make decisions that are not only good for today, but also good for the years to come. And every wise choice stacks on top of the last, building a future of strength, stability and purpose. The most successful people you will ever study are not those who had perfect circumstances. They are those who built mastery over themselves. They didn't wait to feel brave before they acted with courage. They didn't wait to feel motivated before they put in the work. They didn't wait to feel calm before they made tough decisions. They chose to master their emotions, and in doing so mastered their outcomes. And once you understand this truth, you realize that the greatest enemy is not out there in the world. The greatest enemy lives in, but so does the greatest ally. When you bring your emotions under control, when you master them, instead of serving them, your future stops being a mystery and starts being something you create day by day with clarity, intention, and power.